The stars were burning. Captain Ethan Voss sat inside a small stealth ship, watching from above as two fleets tore each other apart. The human ships moved like wolves, fast, sharp, and deadly. The alien fleet, Zalari vessels shaped like knives, and shells, answered with plasma bursts and thunder. Ethan didn't speak. He couldn't. His mission was silence. He had one goal: land on the enemy flagship and plant a virus in its systems. It would shut down their shields and give Earth's fleet a short window to end the battle. 3 minutes until approach, said the AI in his ear. No detection so far. Good, Ethan whispered. But good didn't last. Just as the ship moved closer to the alien flagship, a blinding red light cut across the dark. Alarms screamed. The stealth failed. Missile lock, the AI warned. Incoming! The ship rocked. Ethan's hands flew across the controls, but it was too late. The explosion came fast. His head slammed against metal. Darkness swallowed everything. Ethan woke up chained. The room was bright and cold. The floor hummed beneath him. The air smelled strange. Metal and flowers. 2 alien guards stood on either side of the door. Tall, silver skin. Long black eyes that didn't blink. The Zalari. Before he could speak, the door opened. A third figure stepped in. She was unlike the others. She was tall like them, but her skin had a faint glow like soft pearl. Her eyes were green. Her face was calm, proud, and strangely beautiful. Captain Ethan Voss, she said in perfect English. Do you know who I am? Ethan straightened. You're the enemy. She smiled just a little. To some, yes. I am Queen Yelrai of the Zalari Dominion. He said nothing. The chain on his wrist clinked as he moved. I know you expected death, the Queen continued, but I brought you here for a reason. Ethan narrowed his eyes. Torture? She shook her head. A proposal. What? She stepped closer. If you marry me, I can end the war. The room fell silent. You're joking, Ethan said finally. I am not, said Yelrai. This war has gone on for 5 cycles. Your people fight well. My people bleed. No side is truly winning. But if we unite, it will stop. Ethan stared at her. You think I can just say yes, and Earth will lay down its weapons? Not just you, she replied. You are a symbol, a soldier who saved lives, even alien ones. You are known to us, respected. If you stand beside me, it will shake the warlords who want to keep fighting. I'm a soldier, Ethan said. Not a king, she raised an eyebrow. Then stay as you are, a soldier who saves lives. Ethan looked away. His mind was spinning. Why me? Yelrai paused. Then she spoke softly. Because I've watched your battles. I've seen your choices. You value peace more than victory, like I do. For a moment, Ethan believed her. But then, doubt returned. This could be a trick. It could, she said calmly. But you are alive. I gave you a choice. That alone is rare. Ethan looked down at his hands. Dirty, bruised, still shaking. He had lost friends in this war. He had watched cities fall, heard children cry, and wondered if any of it would matter in the end. And now an alien queen stood before him, offering something no general, no admiral, no politician had ever offered. A way out. Later he was given a clean room. No chains, no guards, just cameras in the corners. The walls were soft white stone, a table with fruit, a small window showing the stars. He sat by the bed and stared. Could peace really come from something like this? He didn't know. But one thing was clear. If he refused, the war would continue. Millions more would die, and nothing would change. The door opened. The Queen entered again. I'll give you 7 days, she said. To decide, you will not be harmed. Explore, ask questions, speak to my people, then choose. Ethan nodded slowly. 7 days, he repeated. She turned to leave. But before the door closed, she looked back and said, "Think carefully, Captain. You're not just choosing for yourself. You're choosing for 2 galaxies." Then she was gone. That night, Ethan sat by the window. The stars outside didn't care who lived or died, they just burned. But deep inside him, a thought began to grow. What if this was real? What if peace really was one yes away? And if it was, could he say it? Captain Ethan Voss walked through the halls of the alien palace, his eyes sharp, his mind alert. Zalari guards stood like statues, tall, armored, and silent. The floor was smooth crystal. Strange lights danced along the walls. Every part of this place felt cold, elegant, and powerful. Beside him walked a tall alien named Kale Tyr, the Queen's chief advisor. He wore dark robes and had sharp silver skin. His voice was calm, but his eyes did not hide his distrust. "I still don't understand why Her Majesty trusts a human," Kale Tyr said without turning his head. Ethan replied simply, "I'm not sure I trust her either." Kale Tyr stopped. "Then why are you here?" "I want to understand," Ethan said. "If she wants peace, I need to see it myself." Kale Tyr stared at him for a moment, then began walking again. "Very well, then let me show you the cost of war." They entered a large chamber filled with glowing maps, live battles, and tiny red lights blinking across dozens of planets. "This," said Kale Tyr, "is the price we pay every day." Ethan looked at the map. Hundreds of war zones lit up. In red, human and Zalari soldiers were dying in real time. He clenched his fists. Kale Tyr tapped the console. Each red dot is a city. Each flash is a battle. Many believe peace is weakness, that your kind cannot be trusted, that war is safer. "Is that what you believe?" Ethan asked. Kale Tyr didn't answer. Later, Ethan was taken to a wide balcony that looked over the Zalari capital. The city below was breathtaking. Tall towers of glass and stone, floating bridges, and strange glowing trees that lit up the streets. There, waiting for him, stood Queen Yel-Rai. She turned to face him, her hands folded. "Do you understand now why I brought you here?" "I understand that you're tired of war," Ethan said, "but you rule an empire. Why do you need me?" Yel-Rai looked toward the horizon. "Because I may be queen, but I am not a god. My throne is threatened. Many want to keep the war going. They profit from it. They grow in power. If I stop the war alone, they will crush me. But if you and I stand together," she continued, "then I am not alone. A marriage between us would change everything. It would show your people and mine that peace is stronger than blood." Ethan crossed his arms. "I'm a soldier, not a symbol." "You're both," she said gently. "When you saved those alien children on Delcar 3, even my enemies took notice. You could have left them, but you didn't." Ethan looked away. "That wasn't about politics." "That's why it mattered," she said. "You did it because it was right." They stood in silence for a moment. Then Yel-Rai stepped closer. "I will not force you. You have 6 days. But if you say yes, you won't just marry a queen. You'll save 2 galaxies." The next day, Ethan walked through the city alone, under watch, but not in chains. He saw families, markets, children playing with glowing orbs, not soldiers, not enemies, just people. At one corner he saw a statue, an old Zalari warrior with a broken sword, standing in front of a cracked wall. A sign below read, "He fought for unity." They called him traitor. History called him hero. A small alien child ran past Ethan, laughing. A large truck came speeding around the corner. Without thinking, Ethan jumped forward, pulling the child away. The truck skidded to a stop. The child cried. Ethan checked for injuries. None. The mother ran over, eyes wide with fear and surprise. "Thank you," she said in halting English. Ethan smiled. "It's all right, just be careful." From the shadows, someone watched. A warlord spy. That evening, Queen Yel Rai called Ethan to her private chamber. She wore simple robes, no crown, no guards, no games. "You saved a child today," she said. "I didn't think," Ethan replied. "I just moved." "You did what my people don't expect from humans," she said. "You protected us." Ethan sat down across from her. "I'm still not sure what you want from me." "I don't want love," she said softly. "I want peace. Trust can come first. Then maybe something more." Ethan looked at her. For the first time, he didn't see an alien ruler. He saw someone tired, someone carrying a heavy weight. "What happens if I say no?" he asked. Yelrai's voice was quiet. "Then I will try another way. But it will be harder and slower, and many more will die." He nodded. "And if I say yes?" "Then we end the war," she said. "Together." That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He thought of his friends who died in battle. He thought of Earth cities bombed from orbit. He thought of the red dots on that war map blinking non-stop. And then he thought of the child he saved, of the mother who thanked him. He got up and looked out the window. 6 days left, and a galaxy waiting for an answer. On the third day, Captain Ethan Voss followed Kael'Tyr deeper into the Queen's palace. "This part is not open to most guests," Kael'Tyr said. "Even many of our own people have never seen it." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Why bring me here then?" "Because Her Majesty wishes you to understand her world fully," Kael'Tyr replied. They walked down a long hallway made of smooth black stone. The lights above them shifted in color, blue, gold, violet, like a living sky. Strange murals covered the walls. Some showed stars being born. Others showed ancient warriors kneeling before a woman with bright eyes and silver hair. "Your ancestors?" Ethan asked, pausing near one. "The first queens," Kael'Tyr said. "Leaders who held the Dominion together during the time of collapse." Ethan nodded slowly. "They look like they carried a lot." Kael'Tyr gave a rare smile. "They did, as does our queen now." They entered a high chamber filled with machines and light. Dozens of alien officers worked quietly. A large map hovered in the center. Red and blue lights marked enemy and friendly zones. "This is the Queen's War Room," Kael'Tyr said. Ethan stepped closer. He saw human ships fighting Zalari forces in 6 systems. Civilian planets caught in the crossfire. Refugee routes under attack. "This isn't a war anymore," Ethan muttered. "It's madness." Kael'Tyr looked at him. "Now you see why she needs you." Ethan turned. "She's the queen. Why doesn't she order the war to stop?" "Because even a queen must play the game," Kael'Tyr said. "There are warlords who want her throne, generals who disobey quietly. If she shows weakness, they will strike." "And if she shows she has a human ally?" Ethan asked. "Then they hesitate," Kael'Tyr answered. "They fear change more than they fear blood." Ethan stared at the map, then whispered, "I never thought my name could stop a war." That evening, Ethan walked through the palace garden alone. Tall trees glowed softly in the dark. The air smelled of warm spice and cool stone. In the center of the garden was a small lake, and near it stood the queen. She wore a plain silver dress. No crown, no guards. Just silence. Ethan stepped beside her. "You brought me to your war room," he said. "I wanted you to see the truth," she replied. "I did." She looked at him. "And I don't know." Ethan said. Part of me wants to trust you. Another part still thinks this could all be a trap. Yelrai nodded. That is wise. They stood quietly. The stars reflected on the lake's surface. You said they would fear a human ally, Ethan said. But what if they strike before I decide? They are already planning it, Yelrai said calmly. I've heard whispers. Warlords who want me gone before the marriage can happen. Ethan frowned. Then what are you waiting for? You, she said. The next day, during a diplomatic meeting inside the Grand Hall, Ethan felt it. Something was wrong. The Queen sat at the head of a long table, surrounded by her advisors and visiting leaders. Ethan stood nearby, watching, listening. Suddenly, a sound cut through the chamber, a low hum, too soft for most ears. But Ethan was a soldier. He turned fast, just in time to see a cloaked figure raising a weapon. Down! Ethan shouted. He tackled the Queen as the weapon fired. A red bolt of energy hit the chair where she'd just been sitting. The guards rushed in. The cloaked figure tried to run but was caught. The Queen's protectors pulled her away while Ethan stood up, heart pounding. Yelrai looked at him wide-eyed. You saved me. You're not allowed to die yet, Ethan said, breathing hard. You still haven't told me how bad your cooking is. She laughed softly, even as chaos spread through the hall. Later that night, Ethan sat in his room, bandaging his shoulder. He'd been hit by shrapnel during the attack. Nothing serious. A knock came. Yelrai entered, alone. You were injured, she said, walking over. I've had worse, Ethan replied. She sat beside him. For a while, neither spoke. Then she said, When I first saw you on the battle screens, I knew you were different. Ethan looked at her. You were watching me? Yes, she admitted. You saved lives even when you didn't have to. You showed mercy when others showed hate. I saw a leader inside you. I'm no leader, he said. I just didn't want to become a monster. That's why you're the right choice, she whispered. Their eyes met. For the first time, the distance between alien and human felt small. Ethan, she said gently, if you say yes, you won't be alone. I will stand beside you, not just as queen, but as your ally. Ethan looked down at his hands. Bruised, tired, unsure. I still need time, he said. I understand, she said. She stood to leave but paused at the door. They will try again. The warlords, the traitors, they will not stop. Ethan nodded. Neither will I. That night. He didn't sleep. He kept hearing the Queen's voice, seeing the blast miss her by inches, feeling the weight of her words. This was no longer just a choice about marriage. This was about survival, about change, about something greater than himself. And somewhere deep in his chest, the soldier inside whispered, maybe peace is worth fighting for too. The palace was no longer quiet. After the attack in the Grand Hall, guards filled every hallway. Drones floated in the air. Soldiers with long rifles stood at every entrance. Captain Ethan Voss didn't like it. It feels like a cage now, he muttered as he walked beside Kael'Tyr. Kael'Tyr nodded. Because someone has shown us the snake hiding inside. Ethan glanced at him. How many traitors do you think are here? Too many, Kael'Tyr said. They smile by day, but plan murder by night. They entered the Queen's war chamber. Queen Yelrai stood near the map, her hands behind her back. Her crown was gone. She wore only a simple cloak, but her face looked colder than before. Another message came from the warlords, she said. Ethan stepped closer. What did it say? They demand I step down. They say marrying a human is betrayal. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were sharp. And if you refuse? Ethan asked. They will strike, soon. Ethan watched the map. The red marks showing enemy ships were getting closer to Zalari's space. "What will Earth do if I agree to marry you?" he asked. Yelrai sighed. "That is your part of the puzzle." He nodded. "Then I'll speak with them." She looked surprised. "You would? I'll ask to talk with Earth's military directly, face to face." She walked to him slowly. "If they say no?" "Then I'll deal with that too," he said. For a moment she smiled. "You're more than just brave, Ethan. You're stubborn. Some say that's a human trait." She chuckled. "Then it is one I admire." 2 hours later, Ethan stood before a holo screen. Across the galaxy, inside a deep space base, Earth's high command watched him. Their faces were serious. Cold. "Captain Voss," said Admiral Grayson, "we believed you were captured." "I went willingly after the crash, sir," Ethan said. "I was given a chance to stop the war. I chose to stay." "You've gone silent for days. Now you show up in the enemy queen's palace talking about peace?" "Yes, sir," a few of the officers murmured. Grayson raised his hand. "You're saying she wants to end the war with marriage?" "Yes, sir," Ethan said, "and I believe she's telling the truth." One general laughed bitterly. "You expect us to trust an alien? She might be using you." "She could have killed me," Ethan replied. "She didn't. She showed me her court, her enemies, her fears. I've seen the truth of this war." Grayson narrowed his eyes. "Do you love her, Captain?" Ethan hesitated. "I respect her. I trust her. And I believe in what she's trying to do." "That wasn't my question." "No, sir, it wasn't," Ethan said. "But we don't need love to make peace. We need trust. And I'm offering that now." Grayson looked at the others. Then he said, "Earth will not attack, for now. But if this is a trick, Captain, you won't have a home to return to." "Understood." After the call, Ethan stood on the palace balcony watching the stars. Yelrai joined him quietly. "How did they take it?" she asked. "They agreed to hold back, for now." She sighed. "Then we have a little more time." Ethan turned to her. "You said they would strike again. How soon?" "Any day," she said. "They're waiting for the right moment." Ethan nodded. "Then we strike first." The next morning, Yelrai gathered her loyal commanders. Kael'Tyr, Ethan, and the Queen stood around the glowing map table. "We found one of the traitors," she said. "A warlord named Vartek. He's been sending weapons to rebels near the southern border." "We hit him first," Ethan said. "Cut off the head before the snake strikes," Kael'Tyr agreed. "A fast, direct strike. Show the others we are not weak." "Will the people accept that?" Ethan asked. "Or will they call it civil war?" "They will accept it," Yelrai said. "Because we won't hide. We'll speak the truth. Let them see the rot being removed." Ethan nodded. "Then let's do it." The plan moved quickly. That night, Ethan and a squad of elite Zalari guards flew in a fast attack ship toward Vartek's secret base on a frozen moon. The ship hovered over the icy cliffs. Drones scouted ahead. Inside the base, rebel soldiers moved crates of weapons. They didn't expect visitors. Ethan led the charge. He moved like a ghost through the halls. His Earth training gave him an edge. The rebels panicked. One by one, they were captured. No one was killed. Finally, Ethan entered the command room. Vartek stood with 2 bodyguards. He sneered when he saw Ethan. "A human," he said. "This is the Queen's choice? A soft creature from a dying planet?" Ethan didn't answer. He threw a stun grenade. 10 seconds later, it was over. Back at the palace, Yelrai stood before her people. Live broadcasts filled every screen across the Dominion. She spoke calmly, firmly. "There are those who wish to destroy peace before it can live. They call me weak for seeking peace with humans, but weakness is hiding in the dark. True strength is standing for what is right." She held up the proof: messages, weapons, evidence of the betrayal. Today, one warlord was stopped. There may be others. But I will not stop. Then she looked into the camera. And I am not alone. Ethan stepped beside her. I am Captain Ethan Voss of Earth, he said. I did not come here to conquer or control. I came here because I believe we can stop this war together. We will not rule by force, Yelrai said. We will rule by trust. That night, in the quiet of the palace garden, Ethan and Yelrai sat near the glowing lake. She looked at him. You've become more than a guest, he smiled. I've become a target too. She laughed softly. 2 more days, she said. Then you decide. Ethan nodded. I know. He looked up at the stars. I just didn't think saving the galaxy would involve wearing royal clothes. Yelrai smiled. Then prepare yourself, because soon the whole galaxy will be watching. 2 days remained. Captain Ethan Voss stood on the highest tower of the Zalari Palace, staring into the endless stars. His heart felt heavy. The weight of 2 civilizations rested on his next choice. Behind him, the doors opened. Queen Yelrai stepped out. You've been quiet all morning, she said softly. I spoke with Earth again, Ethan replied, still looking at the sky. And they're sending a fleet. Yelrai's eyes narrowed. To attack? They say it's a show of strength, but I know Earth's generals. If anything goes wrong, they'll fire. Then we have little time, she said. Ethan turned to her. We need to speak together, both sides, not through hidden messages or secret meetings. In one place, one voice. Yelrai stepped closer. What do you suggest? A peace summit. On neutral ground. You, me, Earth's leaders, and the galaxy watching. She studied him for a moment. Then she nodded. You truly are not like the others. The summit was set for the next day. The location, Orbit Haven, a giant space station floating between Zalari and human space. A message was sent across the stars, one that shocked both worlds. Queen Yelrai and Captain Ethan Voss will speak for peace. All major leaders are invited. The war must end. The reaction was fast and loud. Some called it betrayal. Others called it bravery. On Earth, thousands marched for peace. In the Dominion, many feared change, but others saw hope. Still, danger lingered. Not everyone wanted peace. On the day of the summit, Queen Yelrai's ship docked at Orbit Haven. Ethan stood by her side, wearing a formal uniform. For the first time, he looked more than just a soldier. He looked like a leader. The station's main hall was massive, built to hold species from across the galaxy. Floating lights lit the air. Translators buzzed quietly. Admiral Grayson stood with Earth's top brass. Zalari generals stood across from them. Tension filled the room like smoke. Yelrai stepped forward first. She held no weapon. Her voice was calm. This war has taken millions of lives. We have all lost something. Families, homes, time we cannot get back. She looked at the human side. Captain Ethan Voss came to me not as a prisoner, but as a symbol. He believed peace was possible. And so do I. Then Ethan stepped forward. I've seen both sides. I've fought in battles, lost friends. But I've also seen kindness, even among enemies. He looked at Grayson, then at the Zalari generals. Fighting will not give us a future, but trust might. The room stayed silent. Then Grayson stepped forward. We came to see your truth, not words. Show us. Yelrai nodded. Then listen. She tapped a device. A projection appeared, showing files, videos, and proof of the warlord's betrayal, secret attacks, false orders, weapons traded behind the Queen's back. Gasps filled the room. She spoke again. They fed the war with lies. They wanted power, not peace. Grayson frowned. Why should we believe this isn't another trick? Ethan raised his voice. Because I stood in the fire. I faced death more than once, and I chose to stay, not for love, not for glory, but because peace is the only victory left. Silence. Then, without warning, the station shook. Alarms blared. Ethan grabbed Yelrai's arm and pulled her behind cover. "What was that?" she shouted. Tier ran in. "Sabotage! Someone planted charges in the lower decks. It's a trap!" Ethan's heart raced. "Who?" "We don't know, but it was meant to break the summit." Grayson barked orders. "Evacuate the leaders! Find the traitors!" But Ethan shook his head. "No. If we run now, the peace dies." "We're not soldiers anymore, Captain," a general shouted. "Exactly," Ethan said. "We're leaders. If we leave now, the warlords win." Yelrai stood beside him. "We will not run." Grayson stared at her, then nodded. "Seal the station. Find the explosives." Chaos filled Orbit Haven. Ethan and Tier led a small team through the metal corridors. Smoke filled the air. Security bots buzzed around them. Last, they found the bombs, 6 of them, placed near the station's core. Ethan knelt beside one. "Whoever did this knows what they're doing." Tier asked, "Can you disarm it?" "Maybe, but I need time." He worked fast, sweat on his face. The wires were strange, but not impossible. One wrong move, and the whole station would vanish. Minutes passed. Then, click. The first bomb deactivated. Ethan stood. 1 down, 5 to go. Back in the summit hall, Yelrai stood before the crowd. The attack was meant to scare us, to push us back into war. But we are still here. She raised her voice. "This is not a mistake. This is the future, and I will not give it up." Earth's leaders watched her carefully. Then a message came through. "Captain Voss reporting. Bombs deactivated. No more threats." Yelrai smiled. "Then let us return to peace." Later that night, the station calmed. Leaders spoke again. This time, not with anger, but with caution and hope. A vote was held. The result, a temporary ceasefire, a formal peace treaty to be written, and one final step to seal the promise. In her private chamber, Yelrai looked at Ethan. "You've done everything I asked," she said softly. "More than I hoped," he smiled. "I didn't do it for you alone." "I know," she whispered. "But will you finish it? With me?" Ethan stepped forward. "Yes, no more doubt, no more running. If marriage is what ends this war, then let's give the galaxy a reason to hope." Yelrai's eyes filled with something new, warmth. "Then let's prepare, because tomorrow we show the stars what peace looks like." The palace was alive with tension. The day of the wedding had arrived. But more than a celebration, it was a test, a moment that could change everything or destroy it all. Captain Ethan Voss stood in the royal chamber. His uniform was clean, his posture firm, but inside his heart thundered. Queen Yelrai approached, her silver dress shimmering softly. "No crown today, just a simple chain with the symbol of peace." "You look ready," she said with a small smile. Ethan nodded. "Ready to fight if I have to?" She looked at him, her eyes steady. "We may need more than swords." Outside, the palace guards tightened security. War loyalists had not disappeared. They lurked in shadows, waiting. The wedding was a public event broadcast across both human and Zalari worlds. Millions watched. The grand hall was filled with leaders, soldiers, and citizens. The air buzzed with whispers, hope, fear, and disbelief. Ethan stepped forward with Yelrai. The ceremony began with ancient Zalari rites, symbols of unity and trust. When it was time for the vows, Ethan spoke clearly. "I stand here not as a conqueror, but as a bridge between two worlds. Together, we will build peace." Yelrai's voice followed. "With this bond, I promise to end the war that has cost us too much. Together, We are stronger. Suddenly, alarms sounded. The palace shook. Explosions rocked the city outside. Warlords had launched a surprise attack. Ethan's eyes narrowed. "This is the final battle," he said. Yelrai nodded. "Protect the people. Protect our future." The palace erupted into chaos. Ethan grabbed his rifle and led the loyal guards through the corridors. They fought fiercely. The warlord's soldiers were well trained, but not prepared for the sudden unity of humans and Zalari. Ethan moved with purpose. Every step was precise, every shot true. In one hall, he saved a Zalari child from falling debris. In another, he defended a group of civilians trapped by fire. The crowd outside watched as the palace defenders pushed back the attackers. Meanwhile, Yelrai rallied her people. She spoke over the city's broadcast. "Stand strong. This is our moment. The old ways die today." Her words reached every corner. Citizens joined the fight. Soldiers found courage. Together, they turned the tide. Back inside, Ethan faced Vartek, the warlord captured before, now free and desperate. "You think a human can rule here?" Vartek sneered. "This throne is ours." Ethan raised his weapon. "No," he said. "It belongs to those who want peace." The battle was fierce. Blades clashed. Guns fired. Ethan dodged a strike and countered, disarming Vartek. With one final move, he knocked the warlord down. "Your fight is over," Ethan said. Outside, the warlord's forces began to retreat. The city was battered but alive. Ethan and Yelrai stood together on the palace steps. The crowd cheered. For the first time in many years, hope shone. That night, in the quiet garden, Ethan and Yelrai stood beneath glowing trees. "You led them well," she said softly. "I did what had to be done," Ethan replied. She smiled. "You are no longer just a human. You are one of us." He looked at her. "And you, my queen, have shown me what it means to fight for peace." They held hands. The war was not over, but the future was theirs. Together. The dawn came softly over the Zalari capital. The war-torn city was quiet for the first time in many years. Captain Ethan Voss stood beside Queen Yelrai on the palace balcony. The sun's pale light touched the towers, casting long shadows. "Do you believe this peace will last?" Ethan asked, his voice low. Yelrai looked at the horizon. "It will, if we keep fighting for it every day." Ethan nodded. "We have many challenges ahead." "True," she said, "but today we begin." The warlords were defeated, but many still lived, scattered across the galaxy. Some plotted revenge. Some held old grudges. Ethan knew their peace was fragile, but hope was stronger. Days after the wedding, a great assembly met in the Grand Hall. Leaders from Earth, the Zalari Dominion, and other worlds gathered. Ethan spoke first. "We come from different stars, but our hearts beat the same. We must build a future where no one dies for power." Yelrai followed. "Our alliance is a promise, not just between two people, but between all who long for peace." The leaders agreed to a new treaty, one that would bring trade, friendship, and protection to all. In the weeks that followed, Ethan traveled between worlds. He saw cities rising from ruins, children laughing where bombs once fell, aliens and humans, working side by side. He felt a new strength growing inside him, not from weapons, but from trust. Back at the palace, Yelrai worked to heal her people. She held gatherings in the gardens, listening to stories and fears. She opened her court to new ideas, inviting those who once opposed her. Slowly, the Dominion began to change. One evening, as the twin moons rose, Ethan and Yelrai sat together beneath the glowing trees. "Do you miss Earth?" she asked. "Sometimes," he said. "But this place feels like home now." Yelrai smiled. "You brought us together, and you showed me peace is more than an idea. It's a choice." They held hands, looking up at the stars. Years passed. The war became a distant memory. Children learned of the great Captain Ethan Voss, the human who dared to say yes. The Zalari people told stories of their queen who chose unity over power. Together they built a galaxy where stars no longer burned with war, but with hope. And as new ships crossed the skies, carrying friends instead of soldiers, Ethan and Yel Rai stood side by side, two souls from different worlds, one promise, a future worth fighting for.